Hey guys, it's Anders.
Blake.
And Adam from TV's Workaholics and the podcast This Is Important and the Pleasure Is Ours. We'd like to invite you to treat your friends and loved ones right by gifting them something from Trojan, America's #1 condom brand.
That's right. Trojan Bearskin Raw is America's thinnest latex condom, which helps you enjoy a more natural experience to feel it all.
I feel you on that.
Wait, what?
So pick up some Trojan Bearskin Raw condoms, triple tested and trusted for over 100 years.
Trojan, do your best. Get yours on.
Emma, my back is killing me. Can you help?
Yep, been doing some research.
Great, it hurts right here.
You need lumbar support. Safa mattresses have advanced spinal zone technology.
I was hoping for a massage.
Safa is a better solution, Dan. Their mattresses have the chiropractic seal of approval, according to my research.
How about a Safa and a massage?
Get $200 off your purchase of $1,000 or more at safa.com/200.
Welcome to Scary Time by Indie Drop-In Network. Each week we feature an episode from the best independent creators. Subscribe for great scary content. Today's episode is from Monster Fuzz. Don't forget to check out the show notes for links to subscribe and follow on social media. Enjoy the show.
Begin.
My little cryptid, and this isn't scripted. I wanna equip you and use against my enemies, yeah. You see, I wanted to save you, and then learn how to raise you. But I forget you're from the wilderness.
Point. What's up, Eamon?
Oh, not much, Rob. That was a very nice intro there that you did.
Thanks, yeah, thanks. So you might have guessed there's a poem coming. What is that in the sky? Is it Tommy the Pigeon playing tricks with my vision? Or perhaps it's a devil from Jersey looking to curse me? I'm not quite sure. I need to take a closer look. As I approach, I notice a man running amok. It's Eamon. Yeah. He's throwing stones at squirrels. Mm-hmm. He notices me and says, "Come on, give it a whirl." I say, "No, Eamon, animal abuse is wrong. You had better justify your actions in this next song." Set you right up there, bio.
You certainly did.
Yeah. So you're throwing rocks at
stones at squirrels, yeah.
Yeah.
One of us has a slingshot. It's not me. Anyway. Okay. In the pines, I was making my way, and I saw my good friend Rob. Oh. He had a slingshot out, and he had some stones. He was trying to hurt the nice frogs. I saw the animals, the squirrels, the birds in the trees, and I grabbed all the stones, tried to get them to run away. I threw them, not aiming for them, but aiming quite close so that they could be saved by my evil co-host. He's the Jersey Devil. And then it goes into like a chorus bit or whatever.
So you were alerting, if I'm right now, you were alerting the animals to my presence because I was going to kill them.
Yeah, so I was trying to get them to get out of the way.
Yeah, that makes sense, I suppose, actually, now that you mention it.
Some quick thinking there by young Eamon. Tell you one thing, we didn't really talk much about the Jersey Devil in that song or poem.
We're in the Pines, which is where the Jersey Devil hangs out.
That's true, we're in the Pine Barrens.
Yeah. What is up, everyone? I am Rob.
I am Eamon.
We are Monster Fuzz. And today we've got a juicy cryptid. The Jersey Devil, Eamon. Not to be confused with the new Jersey Devil, who is a hip-hop DJ from the early 2000s. Did a lot of work with the game, I believe, back in the day.
Okay. There's also, speaking of games, there is a Jersey Devil video game on the PS1, which I never played. It's like a cutesy platformer, I believe.
This is correct. And the Jersey Devil is a cryptid that I suppose we've known about for quite a long time, Eamon. Yeah, one of our oldest, I suppose one of the ones that's been on our radar the longest.
Yeah, I think the Jersey Devil is like if you had an S, A, B, C, D, you know those fighting game tiers? I think Jersey Devil is probably B tier. You know,
he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's B tier. He's good. He's solid fundamentals.
Yeah.
Solid foundations.
Good footsies, good range control, nice anti-air.
Exactly, yeah. Very nice anti-air. So, before we get into it, guys, we're on Patreon. Patreon.com/MonsterFuzz. Over there, you'll get our vlogs, our episodes, our songs, our special merch, and the private Discord access. So you can come on over there. You can talk shit about video games. You can talk shit about politics. You can do what you like. It's all there. It's all to play for. We stream on Twitch at MonsterFuzz Podcast. If you'd like to jump over there, please do. And if you want to check out these links, guys, just go to linktree/MonsterFuzz. So that's linktr.ee/MonsterFuzz. And that's where you can find all of them. They'll be in our episode description. They're on every episode description. You can just hit the about notes or whatever and click the link. It'll bring you to where you want to go. Eamon, where do they send in their spooky stories, their bits, their bobs, whatever they want to say? Where does it go?
Okay, so if you have been to the Pine Barrens and seen something unnerving in the woods, do let us know. Write to monsterfuzzpodcast@gmail.com. Also, if there is anything at all that you think we might find interesting, pop it in there. Had a nice little spate of ghoulish stories recently, so looking forward to some more ghost stories from our listeners to throw up in a mini fuzz.
Yeah, guys, please do send them in. And before we get into it, just a quick reminder. As a podcast, it helps us grow a lot if you guys leave us a 5-star review on any of the podcast platforms. And if you can't do that, just a follow for the podcast or a subscription or whatever the fuck. If you do that, that also helps. So, and it's free. And maybe if we like your review, we'll feature it on our Instagram. So do look into it. Please help us out. And a big shout out to our patrons, of course, for their support. It means a lot. So, Eamon, the Jersey Devil, one of the heavy hitters of the cryptozoological community.
He's up there. He's a gatekeeper of the cryptozoology community, isn't he?
He is. So, do you want to fill people in on the Jersey Devil?
So, the Jersey Devil, or Keith Jardine of the cryptid world.
Yeah,
he's
solid gatekeeper from like 2011. Yeah,
solid. So, he's a cryptid urban legend that is said to reside in the vast Pine Barrens of New Jersey. As we were saying, it's probably up there with some of the most bizarre cryptids that we've covered in Monster Fuzz, and it kind of looks like an upright goat with incredibly small bat wings. It's also got horns and a forked tail to complete this bizarre image. So it's basically like a randomly generated spore creature, or some shit.
Yeah, it's like that sort of just mishmash of things that mightn't really make sense. Kind of looks like a No Man's Sky creature as well, if anyone plays No Man's Sky. It's just, like it's been put into a random generator. Yeah.
Pretty much. It's been reported to move excessively quickly and is often described as emitting a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream. So it'd be kind of like the scream would be like... Do you think that would be the scream? That was a beast. That was a I
channeled it there. Well, actually, sorry,
good.
It was an MP3 someone sent in.
Of course. Do you know where I first heard of the Jersey Devil?
Fill me in.
So there was an old TV show called The Lost Tapes, and it was kind of like fucking Are You Afraid of the Dark or something.
Yeah.
But there was an episode I saw with the Jersey Devil when I was like a young teen, and I was like, this shit is awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool, fun cryptid.
Yeah, for sure. So with that in mind, young Robert, where did all this madness kind of start from?
Yeah, so according to the early legends, the Jersey Devil originated in the Pine Barrens, and it was by a resident named Deborah Leeds, who was also known as Mother Leeds.
Mother Leeds.
Mother Leeds. The legend states that Mother Leeds had 12 children, and after finding she was pregnant for the 13th time, cursed the child in frustration, crying that the child would be the devil. Now,
man,
being a woman back then must have been very frustrating, right? Because you're just getting...
in general, yeah.
Well, yeah, in general, and then sexually, there's no birth control, you're fucking... you're dealing with this shit. You're like,
you can't get your fella to put a fucking bag on it, like...
There ain't no bags, Eamon, What
There's
are you going to do?
There's no bags. There must have been ways, like, obviously they know
The pull-out method, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and I say fellas back then were very poor at pulling out.
Yeah, pull-out game was, well, look.
Some people are stronger at it than other people. You know what I mean? Some people have they fuck with the vision.
I believe it was a control tactic by men as well back then, where they'd put a lot of pups in a woman to keep them out of trouble,
Right.
So it must have been a very frustrating process for women that had, say, 13, 14, 15, 16 children. A lot of women in Ireland in those days, Eamon, had fucking, I've heard of 16 kids in a family.
I wonder, did anyone, probably no one really had sex for fun back then, right?
Oh, I'd say
You
that's
think?
exactly what it was. It was just a lad.
You think, yeah?
Yeah,
The lad's
just,
fun rather
yeah,
than...
yeah, just animalistic fucking give me an old pump there.
Yeah.
Don't give a fuck about the pull out. And
Throw off your drawers. Yeah, it's I'm glad that women got the vote and the pill.
Exactly, yeah,
Good
absolutely.
for them.
Yeah, no, it's when you look at it that way, it's fairly shit. So, so the reason we're getting into this is because perhaps at the time, pregnancy wasn't always like, let's sit down and have a child. Have we paid into our pension fund? And do we have money to tax both of our cars this year and pay our insurance? No, it was like, oh fuck, I'm pregnant again, bastard. And this is the 13th time. So maybe perhaps a woman of a certain mental persuasion would be cursing that pregnancy in frustration, crying that the child would be the devil, Eamon.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like so frustrated. She's like, this little fucker.
Yeah.
I hope he turns out to be a right bastard.
Yeah, yeah. She's like, oh, fuck's sake.
She's Jon Snow and him like.
Yeah, yeah. Bastard. So in
You're a bastard.
In 1735, Mother Leeds was in labour on a stormy night while her friends gathered around her. Born as a normal child, the 13th child changed to a creature with hooves, a goat's head, bat wings, and a forked tail.
Yeah, he's fairly fucking cursed with a look like that.
Yeah, growling and screaming, it beat everyone with its tail before flying up the chimney and heading into the pines. Now, Eamon, a little bit of a similarity here with the Loftus Hall tale.
A little bit.
You've got hooves.
Yeah.
You've got disappearing up through the roof. In this case, it's a chimney.
The chimney,
and flying off into the night, I suppose.
The Jersey Devil seems to have done less damage, less structural damage to the property,
True.
which is decent of him. But again, he's only just been born, so do you know what I mean? He's probably not aware of
Unrealized
what he can or should
potential.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say he's probably keeping his guard up while he's flinging the tail. Like he's just a natural. He just knows what's going on.
He does, yeah. So he heads off into the pines out the chimney. And in some versions of the tale, you know how it goes with these tales, Mother Leeds was supposedly a witch herself, and the child's father was the devil.
Ah, sure, look.
Yeah. Some versions of the local legend also state that there was subsequently an attempt by local clergymen to exorcise the creature from the Pine Barrens. Do you reckon, Eamon, that there has been legitimate attempts by priests to exorcise the Pine Barrens at any point in history?
I'll put it to you this way. Yes.
I agree.
think so. Because like, think about the amount of people who have gone into the Pine Barrens to actually look for the Jersey Devil in these various ghost shows and monster quests and all this sort of stuff. You think about the 1800s and how superstitious everyone would have been anyway. That even if this was just a tale that was fabricated in a lie house or whatever, if it did spread wings, pardon the pun, it might get across to some people, and they would I think that's definitely happened.
Now, do you want to tell our listeners here a bit about the Pine Barrens? Why it's called the Pine Barrens?
Yeah, it's called the Pine Barrens because its soil is so shit. That barren is actually the United States. The quality in the Barrens is actually the United States' very first nature reserve.
Yeah. So
I thought maybe there was a riff there on barren, like the soil's shit, so it's barren. Is that what they call it, the Pine Barrens?
Yeah. It's called the Barrens because it is essentially barren. There's no life that can grow there. And yeah, as a result, it's this huge wooded area, and it's your very first nature reserve in America, which I didn't know until I researched this episode.
I didn't know that either. Yeah. So Apparently, it's in, well, not apparently, it is, we've just never been there. It's a massive swampy forest, which is home to some fairly cool orchids and carnivorous plants, Rob's favourites.
Yeah, you throw shit at me for liking carnivorous plants. I believe you called them meathead plants in the past, Eamon.
Yeah.
So
if you're looking for an apology here, you're barking up the wrong bush.
And orchids, by the way, are quite cool, Eamon. Here's a little bit of
orchids are quite nice.
Horticultural fuzz for you.
Here we go.
They live on the branches of trees, orchids, and their root system sort of goes down the tree, and they get their nutrients from bird shite.
Oh, really?
Yes, indeed. So,
all right, pussy arse.
Yeah, so
piss shit.
Wow. Piss arse
pussy
shit.
arse piss shit. Wow.
So that's how they work. So when you have an orchid, as I do, I've had an orchid for 3 years, as the longest horticultural fuzz member. You can actually put them in a clear pot so that the roots get light, because they reckon that it's something they can photosynthesize through the roots.
My God.
So you learn something today, Eamon, about orchids.
Isn't biology fascinating?
It is indeed, yes.
Now let me tell you something about orchids.
Please do. Yeah.
Killer Instinct was the first one of those arcade games. Nintendo's first very popular beat 'em up.
Yes.
Came out on what they called Ultra 64 hardware before the Nintendo 64 came out.
Well, I actually had Killer Instinct on the Nintendo 64.
I had it on the whatchamacallit. I had it on the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo. Yeah. Now, Orchid is the female character in that, and she looks a bit like Janet Jackson, with a kind of bright green sort of a jumpsuit thing that's very tight.
Janet Jackson, as we know, fan of bird shit.
Janet Jackson, we do know that she's a fan of bird shit. One of her favorite songs was Seal's "Fly Like an Eagle," because she was like, imagine the shit an eagle could put on you.
Yeah, most of our listeners probably too young to remember, that Janet Jackson actually used to go to places that a lot of pigeons frequented and sort of stand like Christo the Redeemer and try to get as much poo on her surface area so she could absorb the nutrients. She was sponsored. The Slobs is a place down in Wexford, which is kind of a fitting name for the activities she was doing. Actually, the Slobs. Yeah, exactly. So she'd go out there and she'd be like, oh, I'd love a flock of geese to shite on me. And they would. Yeah. She had to get... But the problem with Janet was that Janet, as you may not know, has actually never had any facial reconstruction or surgery or anything like that. No, it's just... Not. You can imagine the acidity of arse, pussy, piss shit. Yeah. So like it just obviously wore away a bit of the woman's face. Still an attractive woman. You have to find, she has to basically globetrot to find different avian species to get shit on. Yeah, because it's like different vintages, So like, a goose shit is like having a glass of Moët, for example. And if you want like a Jack Daniels, you'll go and get like a shite poke to shit on you. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like a pigeon shit is kind of like a dirty burger, but everyone likes it dirty. Yeah, but we like, you like something dirty and quick, and every now and then it's good. Yeah, exactly. So, that's kind of the link there, I suppose, between Janet Jackson, orchids, and bird shit. So we bridge that gap. Yeah, so we're glad that you'll come out of this at least slightly wiser about photosynthesis and arse, pussy, piss shit, Janet Jackson, birds, and all that. Eamon, just how big is the Pine Barrens? Well, I tell you one thing, Rob. Would you believe that it's about 1.1 million acres? Very large, Eamon. Very large. It's very large. Now, can you imagine how fucked off settlers would have been there, Eamon? I can imagine that it would have been terrible just to be sitting in a boat full of Weetabix only to try to plant their crops in an arid and unforgiving land. Yeah, so you're, a lot of Irish settlers, they left Ireland on a boat called the Dunbrody, which is in a place actually in Wexford called New Ross, which is also where JFK's family are from. So there's actually a statue of JFK, John F. Kennedy himself, down in New Ross. So and our friend's dad actually, he's passed on now, God rest, but he actually made that. So there you go. So it's all linked. It's all linked together. And what I'm trying to say is it was a long journey. I think it might have taken a month or something to get to America from New Ross on a boat around this time. So you're sitting in a boat with scurvy. You're trying to fucking cook up a rat that you found? Because, I mean, these were dirt poor slaves, basically, essentially slaves.
Yeah, you're cleaning your arse with a mop, like it's all bad.
You don't even have a mop. You're cleaning your arse with your hands, and you're fucking, and that's kind of what's going on. So you get off the boat, Eamon, and you're like, the new world. Let me stick me spuds into the ground there. I've got a few spuds sprouting fucking eyes in the boat there. Let me stick them into the ground in the pine barrens. Oh wait, they won't grow. Yeah. All the soil is bullshit. Yeah. Oh fuck. I'm in
Jersey Shore. You arrive at the Jersey Shore before it became popular for having a load of dickheads on it.
You arrive at the shore and there's a lad with fake tan and really greased back hair doing bench presses, and you're like, how is he here
every
right
day? I'm hustling.
They actually Paulie D has actually been in Jersey longer than the American settlers. He was there first, he got there before, and he was even there before the First Nations people, I reckon.
Yeah, I believe Snooky wasn't long after. She was the second settler. They were actually the original First Nations people. Snooky and what was his name? Paulie D and Snooky. So look, shouts out to both of them. Snooky famously appeared in the WWE in the women's Diva match, where she did not win the championship, as far as I'm aware.
Jersey Shore, not to be confused with Geordie Shore. We're going on the Reggie with me Mugabeens. So we're going back to the Jersey Devil, and prior to the early 1900s, and before the series of reported sightings of the creature in 1909, the Jersey Devil was referred to as the Leeds Devil or the Devil of Leeds, either in connection with the local Leeds family or the eponymous southern New Jersey town, Leeds Point. Now, Eamon, Mother Leeds has been identified by some as Deborah Leeds, on the grounds that Deborah Leeds' husband, Japheth Leeds.
Japheth Leeds. How are you, Japheth? There's a few Japhas I know as well, to be fair. A few Japhas.
There's Jaffa, in Wexford there's Japa is another one.
Japa, yeah, that's right.
Jaffa is a good name. I think we should bring back Japheth.
Japheth's good, yeah. Jizza. The Jizza is obviously a famous rapper.
Yeah. SZA is a new pop singer. Yeah,
SZA is a pop singer.
Yeah. I think Jaffa, maybe my firstborn will be called Japheth.
Japheth Billington. Japheth Billington. That is the kind of name to lead a nation, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So he'll lead the Kevin Costner Waterworld type of.
Oh yeah, the underground.
Yeah, that will be in. So he named 12 children in his will during 1736, which is compatible with the legend. So,
interesting.
Yeah, so that they're kind of putting 2 and 2 together and getting 4 here, Eamon.
They're getting 4.
They're doing the maths. Deborah and Japheth Leeds also lived in the Leeds Point section of what is now Atlantic County, New Jersey, which is commonly the location of the Jersey Devil story. Also, shouts out to my friend Bobby, who is from Jersey. So,
hello, Bobby. Also Robert.
Also Robert, yeah. It's a variation of Robert. I don't think I'd like being called Bobby, though, to be quite honest with you.
No.
Not for me, no. I'm a
Not a lot of Bobbies. I've only ever known one Bobby in my life.
It's Rob is the more common one here, I think.
Rob or Bob.
So, it all leads to Leeds controversy.
Just unreal wordplay there by yourself. Fantastic stuff there. Love a good pun. I know. I can literally see the sweat on the digital page in front of me. So the Leeds family were not popular in the area back in the day. In the 17th century, English Quakers began to set up shop in the Barrens and call it their home. Daniel Leeds was a well-known member of the community and a Quaker practitioner at the time, and subsequently became ostracised when he began to publish almanacs with mad bastard astrological symbols and writings, like some sort of fucking Call of Cthulhu type stuff.
Yeah.
The community turned sour like spoiled milk and burned all his books and accused him of being too pagan. That is shite, isn't it?
It
now,
is.
Earlier we did mention that Japheth Leeds, shouts out Jappa, and his 12 kids. Daniel and Japheth seem interchangeable.
Yeah.
Now, Daniel was also slinging some mad dick.
He was putting it about him, and he was, I was doing the notes, and like I was seeing stuff about both of these guys. Japheth kind of seems more of a like mythological person, whereas Dan is like a real individual. So I'm kind of trying to figure out where the lines are.
Was Daniel? Daniel was like, he was a long dick player.
Yeah, he was. He wasn't for that long talking, you know.
99 problems.
Yeah.
So much like the mother Leeds of the Jersey Devil myth, Daniel Leeds' third wife had given birth to 9 children, a large number of children even for the time.
Not in Ireland.
Leeds, no, in Ireland in Ireland it was just like, in Ireland it was like the playoff season.
Baby factory.
Did we make the playoffs? We make them every year, darling. Leeds' second wife and first daughter had both died during childbirth.
Yeah, so you see all this, like, the family, essentially, the Leeds family had a bit of a sort of a tainted name. And so it was, when I was doing research, I was like, what the fuck? You know, it was kind of all mixed and mashed together. So Leeds actually, you know, he was doing his almanac, he was doing his bizarre symbols. So he doubles down and he continues to publish even more esoteric astrological Christian writings. And he became increasingly fascinated with Christian occultism, Christian mysticism, Eamon, cosmology, demonology, which is what you're into, and angelology, which is the first time I've ever seen that word.
Angelology.
Yeah. So there you go. We've learned a new word today, angelology. It's a study of angels. And
I would have said angelology. Angelology. Angel. Yeah,
well,
I
if
know,
you're going by
one.
demon is the full word, right? So angel is the full word also.
No, you're right, yeah. No, it's right. I've never seen that before. I'm trying to... Celestiology? I don't know.
Yeah. And he's also doing natural magic. He seems like a cool dude at the time, but I mean, he probably was a bit of a sex person.
Oh, he was definitely a sex person, yeah.
I kind of feel like all these guys, like, they were probably, like Aleister Crowley, for example, hedonistic sex man.
You know, he was down at the tavern. You know?
Yeah, like, you kind of wonder at this time, still early sort of yokelish times for everyone. People were trying to pull people in different directions, much like what's happening today, except it was probably a lot easier to do it back then. So do you think that perhaps the Leeds dude was trying to get his agenda out there, maybe because he was a bit of a sex person? He was like, right, come over here, you know, I've got this Door CD and this hookah with fucking opium in it. Do you want to come and fucking talk about fucking Beelzebub and suck me Mickey? Like that? I'm kind of gesticulating as I'm talking here.
No, I can imagine. Are your hips are moving like Shakira?
I'm like gesticulating and fucking writhing around in my chair impersonating him. Do you reckon that's what he was doing?
Are you doing like a snake kind of a...
Yeah, I'm snaky, my hips are going, I'm rolling. I did 20-minute fucking Joe Wicks kettlebell workout today, so I'm feeling mobile.
I can imagine, yeah. So it's kind of like you kind of have your small hula hoop on you, like you're kind of like taking that energy in.
Well, I tell you, it was really strange. I was walking downtown and this woman came up to me. She was holding a fucking block of cheese. I was like, what the fuck is this mad bitch doing? She goes, sorry, Rob, can I was like, well, how do you know my name? She was like, sorry, Rob, can I just grate this cheese off your ripped abs? And I said, well, yeah, I said it's unusual, like. But by all means, yeah, do. And she did, would you believe?
Yeah.
And that was after doing one Joe Wicks kettlebell workout.
Well, I mean,
YouTube.
Joe Wicks will show you the tricks, you know?
Or I'll do these kettlebells.
I was having a hard time because they closed our gym, but luckily I have this 10 kg kettlebell.
He's a good lad, Joe Wicks. I say he's a sex person as well, actually. Shouts out.
Yeah.
I'm still gesticulating.
You can't help it. After, I think I've done that kettlebell. That's the 20-minute one where he has the red t-shirt on.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I've done that myself.
Leaves you anchored.
Yeah, I did it once before, and I must have had several orgasms in my sleep that night because I woke up and the place was ruined. But
an apparition of Joe Wicks flies in through.
Yeah, because I mean, you couldn't even. Yeah, it was like that part where Mr. Burns and Smithers. You leave Mr. Burns. You leave Joe Wicks out of this.
And that.
Hi, Eamon. I saw that you like Bobby Joe, and you put it on the save for later. Yeah, he sounds like Timmy. Oh, Timmy's showing you how to do the kettlebells. Yeah, Joe Wicks came in, and it just happened. It was a, I suppose. I don't know. I suppose I'm a sort of a pansexual kind of a character now. But I mean, Joe Wicks, hard to argue with his beauty.
Yeah, Joe Wicks
rode me rotten.
Yeah. Now, so So do you reckon now that Joe Wicks and Mr. Leeds here, do you reckon that
Joe Wicks is using the sorcery of a perfectly honed physique,
Oh, yeah.
whereas obviously back then they wouldn't be wise to the kettlebell.
and he has that long hair, and you fucking know
Oh,
he
yeah.
doesn't listen to Metallica.
He doesn't
And you're
listen
like,
to
"You fucking
Metallica. You
taking
can't
the piss."
like I can't imagine Joe Wicks sitting there with his probably most likely giant member just
Yeah.
as slashing through the family. Lunacy
Yeah.
has found me. No, if he's listening to any Metallica, he's listening to like Nothing Else Matters.
Yeah.
You know, he's listening to the ballady stuff that everybody likes. And he'd say he's listening to Metallica and just like singing it very heartfeltly and getting all the notes right and just slowly stroking his giant muscular member, I'd imagine.
Yeah, he's like Russell Brand, you know, he just knows.
Russell
like,
Brand. But he's got more like Russell Brand. Russell Brand's kind of like, he's sort
they're
of
all
like,
two cheeks of the same
yeah,
Aristotle or
but
whatever.
Russell
yeah.
Brand is sort of a foolish kind of a sexual
Yeah.
energy. He's like
Yeah, he's the buffoon
he's the
with the
trickster
sexual
sexual energy.
lips.
Whereas like this fella is coming in, you know, Joe Wicks is just coming in with a stacked body. He's
Joe Wicks
chest
doesn't
like
fuck
fucking.
around.
No, Joe Wicks doesn't fuck around.
Joe Wicks just comes into the party, crosses his hands, and he goes, right, that's grand. And Russell Brand is the type that's the kind of slink around
Yeah.
and be all, oh, look at me. Oh, yeah.
Russell Brand has
and doing
more
all
of a
his
kind
arms
of
all over the place and
Yeah,
acting
he-
like a fucking wilting palm tree, which
this-
is what he does. He acts
he's
like
got
a
a
sad
spring-
tree in a gale. That's
But
he
he's
kind of
got a
flops
spring
around.
heeled Jack kind of an energy, you know, like he's got that. Whereas
With a
Joe
fucking
Wicks is more
cravat
like
on.
Joe Wicks comes in, he's like, oh, very muscular. You know,
Yeah.
Joe Wicks going out putting out cookbooks and shit, and
look-
Russell
look
Brand
at
on the
my
other time is
muscles.
trying to look at my muscles.
Yeah, and then Russell Brand is like flopping around the place on the
Well,
floor and
Russell
stuff.
Brand is doing yoga and talking about how the aliens
Yeah.
will get our consciousness to the next level and all. And I
Yeah,
like
we're-
that shit too. Don't get me wrong.
Wearing a fucking cravat with a fucking blunderbuss in his hand, fucking dancing around the place like
He
with a-
looks like the person who didn't get cast in A Clockwork Orange.
Kinda, yeah,
know?
yeah.
Not quite there, but it's like the modern sort of
with
image
hair
of
that
it.
like fucking, you know, there's 12 swallows nesting in it.
Yeah, I don't
And
think
it's
he's doing the back comb anymore, is he? Or the front
I
comb
don't
on
know,
the
yeah, I
back.
don't know, maybe not.
Now he's like talking about consciousness and shit.
Yeah. Well, look, sure, you know, I mean, you find Jesus after you have that much sex, you know, it's just kind of the way it is. So do you reckon, Eamon, that, you know, Leeds was, what do you reckon, why was he feverishly publishing these books about mysticism, occultism,
I think
cosmology, demonology? And now, keep in mind, right, listen here, listeners, listen.
no.
This is a time when, you know, these were first settlers, so they were all very religious, you know, they were all of a certain ilk, I suppose, where they were all on a similar wavelength. There wouldn't have been many, you know, it was kind of all fairly whatever. They're all from the same place
Yeah.
at that stage.
But the other thing is, because you're in small communities, if an idea of yours took the people's imagination, you could easily become the big dick in the village, you know? So I'd say that's what
Indeed,
Leeds is going for.
So that's why he was going for that. So
he was the ram. He was the ram of that
He
place,
was
you know?
the ram. So in the 1690s, after his almanacs and writings were further censored as blasphemous or heretical by the Philadelphia Quaker meeting, Leeds continued to dispute with the Quaker community. He was like, nope. He converted to Anglicanism and publishing anti-Quaker tracts criticizing Quaker theology and accusing Quakers of being anti-monarchists.
They didn't like the king and the queen.
So he doubled down. So at this stage, you know, this was before the Civil War. So pretty much most settlers were English, right? And they were still pro-crown. He maybe viewed the Quakers as people who were sort of moving away from the crown. Maybe he was seeing the sort of the beginnings of anti-monarchistic teachings, and he was like, no, I can't be having this.
Yeah.
So in the ensuing dispute between Leeds and Southern New Jersey Quakers over Leeds' accusations, Leeds was endorsed by the much maligned British Royal Governor of New Jersey, Lord Cornbury.
Lord Cornbury.
Shouts out to Lord Cornbury.
Cornwallis's real dad.
He is Cornwallis's dad. Despised among the Quaker communities. They didn't like Lord Cornbury. So at the time, they didn't like the British Royal Governor. Leeds also worked as a counsellor to Lord Cornbury about this time. Considering Leeds as a traitor for aiding the crown and rejecting Quaker beliefs, the Quaker Barlington meeting of the Southern New Jersey subsequently dismissed Leeds as evil. So, You're starting to see now the reason that this is all in here is because it's important to the whole Jersey Devil story.
Yes.
So this is the background. You might be wondering, why are we talking about these fucking leads, arseholes? It all, look, trust us.
Look, lads.
We're adding the ingredients to the pot, Eamon, aren't we?
Look, when you're trying to make a perfect stew,
Yes.
you need to let it stew.
Yes.
And by doing that, you put the heat up high and then put it down to a simmer. So we said, it's got fucking bat wings, blah, blah, blah. And now we're putting it down to the simmer. We're letting the tastes come together. Do you know what I mean? Bit of cumin, bit of fucking chili. It's a weird stew I'm making. It's a spicy stew. But that's what we're doing. And
bit of jalapenos.
Oh, I love a jalapeno. I love a jalapeno.
You're a bit of psychotic if you put a jalapeno on a stew, though, right?
Well, son, if I was making my spicy stew, I'd put a jalapeno in there.
Russell Brand puts jalapenos in his stew.
Well,
for sure.
It's grand to be like Russell Brand. That's what I think. Now,
that is true.
I'll tell you this. Daniel Leeds had a son named, and Rob, I want you to say what the son's name was.
Titan. Lol.
Titan. Named a planet. Imagine being named the same name as a planet. Awesome.
If you name your son Titan, you're not fucking around.
No, you're not fucking around. Iron Titan O'Neill would be my son's name.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mike Titan.
That should have been Mike Tyson's real name.
Yeah, that's true.
I should have just changed it to Mike Titan.
I'm probably just going to call my son Perry Saturn O'Neill. The rings of Saturn O'Neill.
He might, change his name to Mike Titan, to be fair. So we'll give him Titan. Yeah, that might happen.
Mike the Titan Tyson. That's a good name, isn't it?
Will he end up fighting Logan Paul next, will he? That's probably what's going to happen, right?
Yeah. Those celebrity boxing things, though, I don't reckon they have too much more steam left in them. I think they'll be here for a little bit longer and then they'll fuck off.
I just can't be interested in those at all, because it's just like I didn't even bother me arse. I didn't watch the Logan Paul Mayweather one. I was just like,
I watched highlights out of curiosity.
I didn't even watch the highlights. I'm like, I don't want to see fucking, like, it's just I barely had interest in McGregor fighting Mayweather. So I have even less of like some lad off the street who's been training boxing for 2 years fighting Mayweather.
But, I mean, he's also like 26.
Yeah, he's
even someone with no
dude.
Training who's just trained and fit is fighting a guy who's 50 like that. You know what I mean? And
Mayweather's a magician.
No, he is, but also Mayweather's fighting someone who was at least 40 pounds heavier than him that night. That's crazy.
And bet him with ease, so it just kind of shows you how...
Well, I don't even know if he bet him with... He definitely outboxed him. He definitely outboxed him for sure. But I mean, Logan's rough. Like, his punches are fucking... They don't look tasty.
He landed like 10 punches or something.
He definitely rocked him. Like, he definitely rocked.
I didn't see it, but I
he did. Like, to take the first round, he comes out and he fucking gives him an old rabbit punch.
No.
You know? Well, you know. Anyway.
Yeah, go on.
Titan inherited the business after Daniel hung up his hooves and subsequently died. So that was it for Danny.
So that's, if he was the Jersey Devil, he's dead.
He's gone. Titan's almanac actually became a quite popular almanac. People were into mad shit, it seems. So Rob has down here that Titan Leeds was basically a 17th century Monster Fuzz, which is probably fair.
Yeah, the almanac was like Monster Fuzz back then. It was bizarre. Yeah. You're looking at it going, what the fuck is this?
Thine phallus. You are thine sentient phallus. You know? So it even rivaled Benjamin Franklin's popular Poor Richard's Almanac, which is a pretty shit name, isn't it, Rob?
Yeah, it is. So this was, Ben Franklin. The famous
Big Ben Franklin. I'm on a fucking dollar bill or a couple of dollar bills,
y'all.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream. Yeah. That's how real we are.
So, fill us in on that.
Yeah. So once this spooky almanac came onto Ben's radar, he decided to throw shots a la Pusha T versus Drake.
Yeah, it was like the Pusha T versus Drake of the time, you know.
Right. Yeah. So that reference is completely lost on me, by the way.
Okay. It'll be lost on most of our listeners.
Okay,
anyway,
right.
Real ones will know.
Yeah, that's it. Recognize real. The competition between the two men intensified when, during 1733, Franklin satirically used astrology in his almanac to predict Titan Leeds' death on October of that same year.
What a bastard, Franklin.
That's not a funny joke. That's a pretty shitty thing. That's like Facebook bullying back in the 18th century.
Very naughty.
So, though Franklin's prediction was intended as a joke at his competitor's expense, and a means to boost almanac sales. I gotta get rid of these almanacs. Titan Leeds was apparently offended at the death prediction, publishing a public admonition of Franklin as a fool and a liar. In a published response, Franklin mocked Titan Leeds' outrage and humorously suggested that, in fact, Titan Leeds had died in accordance with the earlier prediction and was thus writing his almanacs as a ghost, resurrected from the grave to haunt and torment Big Ben Franklin.
So yeah, Ben Franklin seems like a bit of a messer, you know. He's like a lad after our own hearts, right?
These lads are like throwing mad 18th century shade at each other.
They are, yeah. So
I bet they have hype men and all like that that help out with their media campaigns.
Oh yeah, I'd say there was people like just fucking foaming at the mouth for the next Ben Franklin almanac just to wait and see what shots he threw at fucking Titan
did you hear that
Leeds.
there's a ghost writing an almanac? And like, yeah. I'm going to bring that back. I'm going to bring back like almanac. You know the way you had zines and shit? Like all punk bands used to have zines?
Just some people with podcasts that do them.
Yeah, I'm going to have them. We're going to have them. They're going to be almanacs. The Monster Fuzz Almanac Volume 1. It's going to be fucking awesome.
We will do that, actually, Evan. That's a great idea.
Hi, everyone. This is Bowen Yang.
And Matt Rogers.
Co-hosts of the podcast Las Culturistas. We're inviting you to treat yourself with the gift of pleasure.
Yes. And who better to help facilitate that pleasure gift than Trojan, America's #1 condom brand?
I love a pleasure gift from Trojan. And Trojan Ecstasy Ultra Ribbed has a unique design that actually lets you feel the pleasure and not the condom.
Now, explain this to me. Explain how this works. Elaborate.
Oh, I'd be happy to. So this condom has extra deep ribs at the base and end to increase stimulation, so you're both sure to experience ecstasy.
Dare I ask, does this condom have lubricant?
Does Taylor Swift write songs well?
I think she does.
Yeah,
She's
I think
famously a
so.
songwriter. It's what gives her an edge over the other girls.
It has an ultra smooth premium lubricant inside and out for a more natural feel.
Now tell me about the shape. I need to know about the shape.
You are a shape girl. The Trojan Ecstasy Ultra Ribbed Comfort Shape allows free movement for a more natural experience.
Well, I'm in. I'm sold. This condom is the past, present, and future.
Pick up some Trojan Ecstasy Ultra Ribbed condoms, triple tested and trusted for over 100 years.
Trojan, feel your best. Get yours on.
Finding the right person for the job isn't easy. Just ask someone who hired a lounge singer to be their office receptionist.
Hello, this is Mickey Marquis, and you've reached the office of Doug & Associates. Thank you very much. Catch me Tuesday nights at the Hotel Johnson. Hello?
But if you've got an insurance question, you can always count on your local Geico agent. They can bundle your policies, which could save you hundreds.
Doug & Associates, this is Mickey Marquis. Hello?
For expert help with all your insurance needs, visit geico.com/local today.
Hi, I'm Flo from Progressive. Being a baseball fanatic like me can be stressful. It's not all sports points and touchdowns. So Progressive is going to help you take your mind off your team for a moment. Instead of thinking about how they missed that goal point score, think about the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, letting you choose coverage options based on your budget. Unlike your team that missed the end zone net area. Well, anyway, hope this distraction about Progressive's Name Your Price tool was helpful. It sure kept me from thinking about all those penalty balls. Yay, sports!
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
So Franklin continued to jokingly refer to Titan as a ghost.
Thine keeps calling me a ghost, and I am beyond furious. Like, can you imagine how annoying that would be?
Even after he died, he kept calling him a ghost. So Titan Leeds died in 1738, and Franklin continued to refer to him as a ghost.
Oh my god.
So Daniel Leeds' blasphemous and occultist reputation and his pro-monarchy stance in the largely anti-monarchist colonial south of New Jersey, combined with Ben Franklin's later continuous depiction of Titan Leeds as a ghost, may have originated or contributed to the local folk legend of the so-called Leeds Devil lurking in the Pine Barrens. So now you're starting to see that and there's bits and bobs where they were already a frowned upon community. People didn't like him. They were against the zeitgeist of the time. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I think so.
And so Ben was kind of making them look like, oh, look at these fucking weirdos. These aren't like us. Let's call them ghosts and weirdos and whatever.
They were. Do you remember when PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 came out? PlayStation had the Blu-ray and Xbox. What was it they had? HD DVD. Because that died a fucking quick death, man.
Died. Considering Xbox 360 absolutely trounced PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
what a fucking weird thing. Because, like, Xbox of that generation destroyed PlayStation, but the media format that they were trying to push fell flat on its hole.
Yeah.
And that was largely because Microsoft's half-arse adaptation of it, where they only had it as an external player and never actually built it into the fucking console.
And to be fair, most people are like, I can't fucking tell the difference between a DVD anyway.
No.
You know?
No. I mean, yeah, but then
like they are better looking, like they are, but
yeah.
it wouldn't bother my viewing whether I watched a Blu-ray or
no, but
DVD.
you have glaucoma though, so
Deep River blindness is actually what I have. So
that might do it for you.
We got it in the fucking, I was gonna say the Kyoto village.
Oh, okay.
We got it in the Ewok village.
Oh, very good. Okay.
But we've introduced filtration systems, so it's working a bit better.
Nice. So during 1728, Titan Leeds started to use his family crest on his almanac, Simon.
Fuck yeah.
Now,
fuck with one of us, you fuck with all of us.
Here's the thing, though.
Uh-oh.
The Leeds family crest depicted a wyvern, which is a bat-winged dragon-like legendary creature that stands upright on 2 clawed feet. What does that sound like, Eamon?
I'm not going to front, but I'm pretty sure that sounds like the Jersey Devil.
Yes, or at least definitely resembles it a little bit.
For sure.
Important information as we continue with our notes here. So we're on to some actual physical sightings of the Jersey Devil. Now you've got, so here's the idea, the background is there was magic going on, there was occult stuff going on. The Leeds family were spooky, the woods were spooky, Eamon.
They were putting out almanacs every fortnight.
They're putting out almanacs by the new time.
Do you know almanac is also a word for brandy, I believe. It's cognac almanac is what they call it in Prague, isn't it?
The only time I've ever heard almanac is a Kinks song called Autumn Almanac. And what would an autumn almanac be, Eamon? It's a farmer's thing, planning dates, tide tables, and stuff of the calendar. So it has weather forecasts. Okay, so it makes sense why your man was making it a bit mystical, because it has farmers' planting dates, things about the setting times of the sun and the moon.
You have death and rebirth and all that sort of stuff.
Rebirth, and also religious festivals were all in an almanac.
True. Now, what I did is I got almanac wrong. Armagnac is the brandy name.
Armagnac, probably.
Armagnac, yeah. Armagnac, man.
To pronounce it like a complete Yorker.
Armagnac. Armagnac.
Yeah, so there you go. There's mystery in these woods, these dark woods.
And as we all know, the woods are scary places. The woods are.
Our woods are kind of like pine barrens, actually. Carraclaw Forest would be kind of like a pine barn.
Yeah, and I'd say now, I don't know, you've probably camped out in Carraclaw Forest as
many
a
a time.
I camped out there last summer. Now, it wasn't scary on account of all the alcohol, but it was pretty awesome, especially when you see those waves, the white sort of crest of the waves coming in at midnight. Man,
magical.
It's awesome.
So,
but if I was there by myself, I'd probably do a bit of Weetabix.
Yeah, so a little bit of Wexford fuzz. Probably mentioned at very early episodes, but Carraclaw, our claim to fame for Carraclaw Beach is it's where they shot the Normandy landings in Saving Private Ryan. So that's so Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg, all those guys were in Wexford at the time. And my little small claim to fame is my dad worked on the stunt crew, and
that's
it was
right, actually, yeah.
It was Tom Hanks's birthday on set, and I got some of his birthday cake.
Didn't your dad get on really well with Tom Sizemore?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, well, that makes it perfect.
Is that me?
Again, we're going back to two cheeks of the same arse. They are two cheeks of the same arse. If my dad was famous, he would be Tom Sizemore.
I think that'd be like, he should have done a reality TV show. Obviously, this is predates reality TV, but just like called it Lit Up with Tom Sizemore. It's just your dad going around with him getting mad out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so that was the claim to fame. So that's where it was shot. And at the time, you know, in town, it was a real buzz. You know, small little town in 90s Ireland, and you had fucking Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks. It was pretty crazy. It was cool.
I have one for you. My claim to fame. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Maid Marian, is my second cousin or something like that. She married.
Is she attractive?
Yeah. Well, she was back then anyway. Jesus, I never met her or anything. But she married the fella, my cousin directed Circle of Friends and all that. He's my mam's cousin, so I don't know what that makes him to me. But he married her. And yeah, so we have some sort of tenuous link, me and Mary Elizabeth Master Antonio, I believe her name is.
Oh, yeah, I found her. Yeah. Fair play to her, yeah.
Yeah. She looks a very attractive lady. Not to be incesty, but...
well, it's by marriage, right? It's all right then, is it?
I don't know.
What's the crack with that?
I don't know. I'll ask her. But anyway.
So yeah, but to go back to Kirklow briefly before we move on.
Oh, yes.
It is Pine Barrens. Definitely a very nice little corner of the world. And if you ever find yourself going through Ireland, stop on your way down to some bullshit place like Cork or Kerry. Drive down from Dublin, hit Wexford. We'll fucking escort you. Just ask for the Weetabix and just shout Weetabix loud enough and we'll come and get you.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kirklow Beach.
Yeah, our call is if you go just at the Wexford Bridge. So basically it's the opposite end to Ferry Bank, which if you're not from Ireland isn't going to mean much to you. You will see an emblem for a spice restaurant, which is an Indian restaurant.
Clear once you see spice.
Once you see the spice, you know you have the right ingredients. And so you just stand at the bottom and you just go, Weetabix! Like that, and you'll hear back from this, you'll hear orange juice, and slowly the noises will get closer and closer together until verily myself and Robert do arrive.
Indeed, yeah. So now you know you've got a little bit of Wexford local stuff, and they are like Pine Barrens, and what I mean by that is the beach meets the woods, so the soil is basically sandy, salty soil.
You can't plant anything in sand unless it's yourself, because you've dug a hole and you want to bury yourself in it, which is great crack. But it won't help grow any vegetation at all.
Nothing actually really grows in sand, right? Except for like that razor grass stuff.
Marram grass.
Yeah, marram grass. Yeah. So, let's get to these sightings here.
Some sightings.
These are some real. This is the meat and bones here. This is where people are actually seeing this creature that we know.
Yeah, blue lips, kid.
Blue lips, kid.
A newspaper from 1887 describes sightings of a winged creature referred to as the Devil of Leeds. Allegedly,
long after Leeds time. This is Leeds are long gone at this stage.
But their legacy remains.
Their legacy remains. So it's important because what I'm trying to get at is they weren't. It wasn't like reactionary to Leeds being there at the time. Like it wasn't people saying, "Oh, it's the Leeds family," whatever.
Yeah. Because that's 100 years of stories that have carried down. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, this thing probably writing its own almanac in the sky. Is allegedly spotted near the Pine Barrens and well known among the local populace of Burlington County, New Jersey. So, whenever he went near it, it would give a most unearthly yell that frightened the dogs. Oh, Jesus! A fucking mug of beans!
that was the Jersey Devil MP3.
That was the Jersey Devil MP3 that we got from the early 19th, or late 19th century, not too bad.
Yeah.
It whipped at every dog on the place. That thing, said the Colonel, is not a bird, nor an animal, but it is the Leeds Devil, according to the description. And it was born over in Evesham, Burlington County, 100 years ago. There is no mistake about it. I never saw the terrible critter myself. That's a cute little word for a big devil.
Critter.
But I can remember well when it was roaming around in Evesham Woods 50 years ago, and when it was hunted by men and dogs and shot at by the best marksmen there were in all of South Jersey, but could not be killed. There isn't a family in Burlington or any of the adjoining counties that does not know of the Leeds Devil. It's a bad time for a bit of a mispronunciation. And it was the bugaboo. What? And it was the bugaboo to frighten children with when I was a boy. The bugaboo.
Yeah, the bugaboo is like the boogeyman.
That's like, all right, the bugaboo. We gonna rock down to the bugaboo.
And then we take it higher. Ariel, we walking down to electric bugaboo. So the farmer, onto the farmer here.
The farmer.
In Greenwich during December 1925, we're getting more recent.
Oh.
A local farmer shot an unidentified animal as it attempted to steal his chickens. Rooster! he was in the bed and he heard Rooster. And he's like, what the hell is that, man, chickens? And he got out and he ran down and there's a fucking Discioch. So he claimed that none of 100 people that he showed this creature to could identify it.
Oh, Lord.
So on July 27, 1937, an unknown animal with red eyes seen by residents of Downingtown, Pennsylvania, was compared to the Jersey Devil by a reporter of the Pennsylvania Bulletin of July 28, 1937. In 1951, a group of Gibbstown, New Jersey boys claimed to have seen a monster matching, oh my God, it's a monster. Matching the Devil's description and claims of a corpse matching the Jersey Devil's description arose in 1957. During 1960, tracks and noises heard near Mays Landing were claimed to be from the Jersey Devil. The Jersey Devil.
The Jersey Devil.
During the same year, the merchants around Camden offered 10,000. Now, why is Eamon clicking around the document? I don't know.
I didn't mean
is
to.
he
I just
playing a video game?
I love to highlight
his
text,
cursor?
but as you were reading it, I was highlighting the text, and then I realized, oh, that's probably throwing him off. I just have this thing where I love to highlight text. I don't know what's wrong with me. I love highlighting text.
All right, shouts out to highlighting text.
Oh, seriously though, shouts out to highlighting text, especially when you have like a dark background, you highlight it and it illuminates. I love it when it makes the words white on a black background.
Yeah, that's
oh
nice.
Man,
yeah.
That's just like
No,
I when I see that, I feel like I'm Joe Wicks. Like,
yeah,
I feel like I'm John Wick. Never mind, Joe Wicks.
Yeah, so Camden at the time offered $10,000 as a reward to capture the Jersey Devil. It even offered to build a private zoo to house the creature if it was captured. So they were putting their money on the table, their Mickey on the line,
dick on the table, and
they were saying, "Come on, we've got a zoo put aside. We're ready to go. Find us the Jersey Devil," which is what we do as well. Monster Fuzz would bankroll $10,000
for sure
to put a cryptid in a zoo.
Yeah,
we may yet set up a cryptid zoo, Eamon, correct?
We will steal famous cryptozoological creatures, free them and put them in a zoo. Yeah, we will do that.
So we're on to a sighting in 1909.
1909.
Yes.
So during the week of January 16th through to January the 23rd in 1909, newspapers of the time published hundreds of claimed encounters with the Jersey Devil from all over the state. Among alleged encounters publicised that week were claims that the creature attacked a trolley car in Haddon Heights and a social club in Camden. Police in Camden and Bristol, Pennsylvania, supposedly fired on the creature to no effect. Jesus, this sounds very fun, actiony.
Yeah.
Other reports initially concerned unidentified footprints in the snow. But soon sightings of the creatures resembling the Jersey Devil were being reported throughout South Jersey and as far away as Delaware and western Maryland. Now, the widespread newspaper coverage created fear throughout the Delaware Valley, prompting a number of schools to close and workers to stay home. Vigilante, sorry ladies and gentlemen, he's just highlighted all the text as I was doing to him, and I must admit it is quite it does put you off.
Yeah, it does a little bit.
So I'll say apologies to you, but I will also say that pink twinge that goes on the text, very nice looking.
It is beautiful. It's very attractive.
Like a beautiful fish.
It is.
So, the widespread newspaper coverage created fear throughout the Delaware Valley, prompting a number of schools to close, not unlike the coronavirus, except this is a giant winged goat creature.
Which is
so
more fun.
way cooler. Way
more
more fun. Go out at your own peril, but it's not like wear a mask. It's like you might be fed like a feed bag to some yoke. Right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, vigilante groups and groups of hunters roam the pines and countryside in search of the devil.
Serious.
Yeah,
people were taking it seriously.
Yeah. So as Rob was saying, during this period, it's rumored that the Philadelphia Zoo were like, hey, $10,000, we're going to give you a reward. Obviously they wanted to put it in the zoo. The offer prompted a variety of hoaxes, including a kangaroo equipped with artificial claws and bat wings. I would like to see that.
So a little bit more on that, because I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
During 1909, Norman Jeffries with his friend Jacob Hope, an animal trainer, purchased a kangaroo from a circus and attached artificial claws and bat wings onto it with glue. They declared to the public that they had captured the devil, and it was displayed at the museum. 20 years later, he admitted it was a hoax.
20 years?
Did people think it was real for that amount of time?
That's the start of World War II when people were like, whoa, wait a second.
And also, like, bat wings on a kangaroo. Like, a kangaroo is massive. Like, if it was a wallaby, you'd be like, okay, maybe. But a kangaroo is a big bitch.
Man. And a kangaroo has the upper body strength like fucking The Rock.
And the absolute biggest... No, I think the kangaroo could have been dead, to be honest.
I'd imagine so. I can't imagine those glued on bat wings staying on a kangaroo.
Well, I mean, if you super glue, a bit of Gorilla Glue, you know.
Well, Gorilla Glue, as we all know, yeah.
Yeah, from the Gorilla Glue factory there.
Gorilla Glue.
So, I mean, they glued these claws, they glued these little tiny bat wings, which obviously will be a bit of a letdown, and it took 20 years to figure that out, so it's quite...
Madness. So Hitler's invading Poland 9th September 1939.
And they're like, yeah, whatever. So these are all like dusty old...
Oh, sorry, 20 years later, that'd be 1929, excuse me. Yeah, World War I has come and gone.
Hitler was getting angry around that time. So
Hitler was a spy at that point.
He was shell-shocked and annoyed, I
couldn't get into art college. He probably saw, I reckon what happened is he saw what passed as the Jersey Devil for 20 years.
Yeah,
and it incensed him so much he decided that he'd have to perform mass genocide and take over the world.
It's time to destroy Europe.
I've had enough of these fucking idiots.
Yeah. So they're all like dusty harb sightings, you know, they're all fucking what is that?
All these dumb ones.
Stupid old people and shit. Now, what do we think this is, Eamon? We have a sighting here from David Black in 2015.
This actually looks like fucking one of the sexy nurses from Silent Hill.
It does. There's a picture here that's quite eerie, actually. And it's... You see, there's no description for this picture. I couldn't really find one. So what we're doing here is we're describing it to our listeners. Basically a little cottage, is there a little cottage there, Eamon, I think? And there's
ruins
trees
over to the right,
yeah, there's ruins, perhaps a ruined cottage, and trees and a little fence, but then in between the trees there is something that looks quite unusual.
It does look like it's got breasts, first of all.
It does actually have nice ditties.
It has good ditties. Strange legs, arms that are too big for it, and it looks kind of like a horn and a head, and the head's moved to the left.
Is it the 7-Up fella, Fido Dido?
It could be Fido Dido, actually. Naked Fido Dido after getting breast implants, like Marilyn Manson in Mechanical Animals.
Yeah, it looks a bit like him. Fido Dido, maybe Fido Dido come to life. Is it someone that's done too many Joe Wicks workouts?
You know what? If you look at the kind of...
It looks a bit sore. Like
the hind legs, he's clearly he's bent his left leg back. He's done like that Anderson Silva kick and just cracked open his tibia and fibula. Has a fairly stacked arse if you look just underneath his left arm.
This is true.
It's a fairly, like, I'd say there's a good bit of squats going on there.
What do you reckon this is? Doctored image, tree, Joe Wicks, or just like a cryptid? I don't think it's the Jersey Devil because it doesn't match any descriptions of the Jersey Devil.
I mean, it could be a strange sort of a forest entity, but it also could be a hoax, and it also could be Joe Wicks.
I'm trying to think what it could be there. My initial thoughts is some kind of weird tree, but it doesn't really look like one.
And if you look at the way it's framed, there's quite a dark sort of a spot behind it. So it's almost as if, that's why I'm thinking some sort of Photoshop. But also look at the way it's balancing on that. Like, it wouldn't be able to balance that way on the fence.
I don't think it's balancing on the fence. Oh, but it kind of is, I think.
I mean, it might not be. This is why it's difficult to know.
Strange. It's an unusual looking
thing. It looks like
though.
a kind of a...
Put it this way,
a chimera of sorts.
Hey, it's Nikki Glazer. I want you to get everything you want. And the thing I want you to get the most? Laid. Yeah, that's right. I want you to have sex. And what better way to have sex than to use Trojan Bearskin Raw condoms? Cuddle up on that bearskin rug, throw on a bearskin condom, and it'll feel as close to the real thing as possible. They're triple tested and trusted for over 100 years, with silky smooth lubricant to increase comfort and sensitivity. Don't be cuh. You gotta wear a condom. They're cool. Buy them. Share them. Gift them. Wear them. Grow up and get Trojan Bearskin Raw condoms. Trojan, America's #1 condom brand. Feel your best and get yours on.
Yeah, I don't want to fucking make that thing at night. Imagine pitching your fucking tent and that cunt comes running at you.
Well, I mean, I'd like it be like, show us them ditties again.
Yeah. So yeah, we're not sure on that one. We don't know whether that's sighting or shiting, really, right?
No, it could be a strange entity. Maybe that's something that's taken on the form of the Jersey Devil, as that's something we're familiar with in the area. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe it's trying to mimic it, but it's some sort of weird other forest sprite.
So next up we have a famous sort of Jersey Devil sighting, actually, and it's kind of funny because this one is a bit newer than, say, even when myself and Eamon got into cryptozoology, I guess. In 2015, people claimed that they thought they saw the Jersey Devil along Route 9 in Egg Harbor Township near a golf course. The witness, David Black, thought that there was a llama standing inside of its fence along the roadway, until it suddenly whipped out its gigantic wings and started to fly away.
No.
David Black grabbed his cell phone and tried to capture the video of this creature. The video clip is very short and shows what appears to be a Jersey Devil flying across the screen, a black silhouette against the colourful sunset. There's a photo of the same creature attributed to David Black, and it kind of looks like a horned goat with wings that was thrown like a football. Now we have this image. This is in our episode image thing, the new episode post. What do you reckon of this image?
I reckon this is a fucking stuffed animal who's been thrown like a football, if I had to guess.
That's exactly what it looks like, right? Yeah. But it looks cool, though.
It does look pretty cool. It looks like it actually looks kind of like a dog almost.
To me, it just looks like a goat with wings strapped to it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm wondering, man, did they get a fucking dead goat and hang
taxidermy
it from a tree?
Ghost?
Yeah,
goat, rather.
And hang it from a tree and sort of swing it back and forth. It kind of looks like that, doesn't it? It's at that angle. And then Photoshop out the rope.
It looks super dumb. Like it's a fun picture, but like it how anyone could take it as a serious image is I swear it's not photoshopped. You know, like it's so.
I'm trying to think what actually looks dumb about it. I think it's the wings are too small.
It's just the wings. Like the wings are in the middle of the back, and they don't appear to be flapping. And maybe it's because the trees look like they're sort of moving to the left. Do you know what I mean? So it's just I don't know, very strange.
To play devil's advocate, though, we've discussed this in the past. Like, if we really seen photo evidence of a cryptid, would it look really weird? And we'd be like, yeah, it just doesn't look real.
I will give you one thing. This does look real. Like it looks like
it looks like an organic thing.
It doesn't look like a thing in a suit. So I'll give credit on that one.
Absolutely, yeah. And the wings as well look. Whatever they are, there was effort made if it was a hoax. But David Black says that it's not photoshopped or a staged thing. People say it's fake, but it's not. I'm honestly just looking for an explanation for what I saw. However, no one else has come forward and seen a similar creature at the same time. So David Black has 2 sightings under his belt.
Okay.
Is he talking shit, Eamon?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say he's probably talking mad pony. I would imagine that he's staged both of these because they both look fake. That would be my initial reaction.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But again, David, do feel free to come onto the podcast. I'm saying that's my partial feeling. Does not mean that I am right. That's just what I see, what I feel when I look at these.
Right, yeah. So we have another sighting here then.
We do, the Bayville sighting. Startling drivers on Route 9. So Route 9, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the major roads that runs alongside the Pine Barrens. People use it all the time to go down to Jersey Shore. Shouts out Snooky and Danny Dyer. Sorry, Paulie D, not Danny D.
Yeah, Danny D. I'm in Jersey. We're going to find some proper fake tan bitches.
We're going to get some proper fight on here. All right, Paulie D, you look like a hard geezer. One of the many sightings included in the Weird New Jersey book was a story from someone going by the name Sonny Z, obviously.
Yeah, cousin of Paulie D, yeah.
Yeah, of course, the Alphabet family.
Yeah. Alphabeti Spaghetti.
Alphabeti Spaghetti, fucking the consonant bros.
Yeah.
He wrote that it was around 10 p.m. at night and Sonny was driving through the town of Bayville. 2 cars driving ahead of him had to suddenly slam on their brakes when a disgusting creature emerged from the woods. Ugh, it's awful. It smells like a blocked drain. He described it as being hairless with strange short ears and hooved feet. He also
Snooky,
said...
maybe.
Yeah, could have been Snooky. She was out on the brown acid out in the woods. He also said it towered over the road, standing nearly 10 feet tall. He said that it looked like every classic drawing of the Jersey Devil that he had always seen, and that it galloped at high speeds across the highway. Of course, many people told Sonny Z that this was just a deer, but he insists that he had seen plenty of deer driving at night before, and this was absolutely no animal that he had ever seen. Now,
Unsettling.
Rob, what do you think of that? Sighting or shiting?
Well, look, we'll take his word for it for now.
Yeah. Sonny D, or no, Sonny Z, Paulie D. But Sonny D is a nice drink.
Yeah, so, you know, so there you kind of have the meat and bones of the Jersey Devil, and perhaps some of its origins. Is it a byproduct of occultism? Is it a byproduct of a family? You know, so we had sort of touched on this in our Loftus Hall episode, which I do recommend you go and listen to. It's a good one. It's an oldie but a goodie, and it's about a place in our very own Wexford. It's the most haunted building in Ireland, and the story, we touched on this a little bit, Eamon, towards the end of that episode, I believe, where we sort of toyed with the idea of perhaps the family invented the devil's tale, or locals invented the devil's tale because perhaps their daughter became pregnant out of wedlock, or perhaps there was some sort of controversy there where they had to invent a tale, or maybe the locals invented a tale, because it's quite possible there's a lot of variability. But basically the story of Loftus Hall is a traveller comes into Loftus Hall late at night, stormy, whatever. He hangs around the house, I think, for a few days, maybe, perhaps. The young daughter takes a liking to him. They're playing cards at the table one night. He drops a card, probably had his Mickey out, and he was like, oh, go and get the card under the table. She looks under the table and she sees that he has hooves. When she finds that he has hooves, he flies up through the roof, disappears. After he disappears, this Anne Tottenham, I believe was her name, was so bereft and heartbroken that she basically, it was inconsolable, locked away in her room, and she actually died in like a sort of a fetal position from crying. We kind of at the time toyed with the idea that maybe she had fallen pregnant to this guy, and maybe they had said that it was the devil, or maybe they wanted to keep people out of the house at the time and say, oh, the devil was in our house, you don't want to come here. But perhaps is this the same thing, Eamon, where a family, sort of the community and the family might have clashed, or there might have been some sort of friction there, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it was something as simple as like the town folk didn't like that your man was riding around as much and he had fucking loads of kids and shit.
I think there's that, and there's also that superstition was such a big thing back then, you know?
Yeah.
And you could easily just sort of spread these rumors and talk fucking smack about people that you didn't like. Probably doesn't, because again, the Quakers are so sort of, I suppose every religion was fundamental back then, to be fair.
Yeah.
But they were so rigid in their belief system that even though he was talking about demonology and angels and stuff, which is very like, it's probably leaning more towards Catholicism, but it's certainly in vogue with religious sentiment at the time. Because he was slightly transgressive, they actually said, oh no, well, the Jersey Devil stems from him. He's evil because he's kind of not in keeping perfectly with what the way we want him to think. Which is true of all mad religions, to be fair.
Yeah, so like these were kind of out there, and they were comfortable with being out there because they had a bit of clout. So the Pine Barrens at the time were kind of there was prosperous things there. I think there was like deposits of iron and things like that in the Barrens and different things. So there was different industries popping up there, and so they were part of a wealthy sort of family. And, you know, there's a lot of things there where perhaps they were jealous, perhaps they just didn't like them. And yeah, maybe that initial rumor sort of turned into what we know as the Jersey Devil today. Which to me, you know, to be quite honest, going into the Jersey Devil story, I had only ever really seen it as a cryptid and seen pictures, and I had never really read into it. I didn't really know like what the idea was, whether it was like a Bigfoot type creature or what. Kind of seems like here it's more folkloric, right?
Yeah. No, I didn't know about the leads, the specifics that you got into the notes here. I knew about Mother Leeds cursing the child, and that, but that was probably the most that I had known about it. So yeah, it was really interesting to see, because I think you're totally right. I think it has its links in with people being ostracized, and to be ostracized then was probably to be sort of evil or to be just completely thrown out, I suppose.
Yeah.
With you know, with what the society sort of wanted. So it was amazing that to even transgress in what we would see nowadays as a very small variance of belief, actually, you know, for hundreds of years, basically meant that poor old Daniel and Titan were just fucking thrown away, you know.
And Jaffa, don't forget about Jaffa.
For poor Japa. Yeah, I forgot about Japa.
Yeah. So, do you reckon, you know, the Pine Barrens is a big place? It's Dublin's a big place. Like the Pine Barrens is a big the Pine Barrens is a big place. Do you think that it houses perhaps something bizarre? I mean, like what you're looking into here is like a dead forest.
Well, dude, you're talking about 1.1 million acres, wasn't it?
Quite large.
Yeah. So if a sort of mad thing exists in any of the forests, it's entirely possible that it could be there, you know, in the forests in North America. Is it a goat bat demon thing? I don't know about that. Although with the occultism, we have seen, you know, in the Beast of Bray Road, there's a lot of bits about that where they said, could these be demonic entities that have been brought forth to our realm of reality or whatever?
Yeah, so I mean, if you believe in occultism and sort of like fucking demons and demogorgons, then it's possible that like anything goes then. Like if you believe that like the Leeds fucking around with all this shit and acting like fucking Aleister Crowley sex people, then it's possible that the Jersey Devil is absolutely a real thing.
Do you believe in life after love? You know, stuff like that.
And they are, I mean, it's like, look, I'm ignorant to the occult in that sense of what kind of like belief systems occur. Like what I'm trying to say is like, do they believe in fucking demons flying around the place and shit? Like, or can they fly around and can they walk on Earth? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole thing, certainly in Catholicism and the teaching there, is that the demons are real, you know, and they have the exorcists and you know,
right.
that. So they do believe, again, I can only talk to Catholicism. Now, they never really talk about physical manifestations, but I'm pretty sure there's, you know, talking about figures in the corner rooms and all that shit. And again, I suppose a demon, the goat-like bat tail, like that seems very... To be fair, I'm sure there is demons. Let me just see. If
I read my dad's occult handbooks and like it was all his handwritten notes. He's into like all that shit.
Yeah, he's into like earth magic, isn't he?
He's into like all the Crowley shit, really, like sex person fucking shit. And and there was stuff about like legitimately like powering your sword with like elemental magic and shit. Like where it was like you're imbuing your weapon with fucking mad shit. And like, yeah, I was reading this as like a 13-year-old boy going like, this is load of me arse. But if you believe it, you believe it, right? I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, I don't know.
can belief power sort of things to be real? I don't know. It's a very hard one because, I mean, do you know the comic book author Grant Morrison?
Yeah.
He goes into some mad stuff when he starts talking about doing seances and just really strange stuff with that kind of magic
before, like. Yeah, I've been to a lot of that shit. Like, I've been to...
Oh, yeah, sure. You were saying before your dad would have brought you to some of that stuff.
Yeah, like, I was in the Temple of Isis, not the blow up people ISIS, but the Egyptian ISIS. Shouts out to Tutankhamun. There's a castle here in outside Wexford called Huntington Castle. And it's a witchy castle. That's where all the witches live.
Yeah.
There's actually documentaries from the 70s, I believe, where they interview some of the witches that practice there on TV here. And so, yeah, I was out at their ceremonies in these temples, and yeah, I was in the middle of it, just bored, going like, this is a load of me arse. Anyway, I'm off. But,
to be fair to you, it's probably I was just saying, it's probably no different to when you think about going to mass.
I felt the exact same.
Yeah, because it is. It's like, oh, we're going to say sorry now and we're going to say all this shit. And then, okay, remember that we can't do but sin, so you have to forgive us. Oh, and now we're going to eat the flesh and drink the blood.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's the same thing. Like, they were going around fucking lighting shit and all that. And I was at a, I suppose, witchy funeral as well, where we all went to Carrickforest, actually, your haunt.
Okay, yeah.
And did a ceremony out there, and I was just sitting there smoking hash going, this is a lot of me arse. But yeah, no, so I've been to all that stuff. It's not for me. I'm not like really, I mean, I'm sort of, I suppose, kind of a little bit spiritual in some sense, but I don't know, it's just anything organized like that, I'm kind of like, yeah, whatever, like, look, grand. But sure, look, at the end of the day, as we've talked about before on this podcast, whatever you believe is what you believe, and if it helps you in your day-to-day life, then fucking believe away, do whatever you want to do, and much the same as myself, just dumb shit that I do to help me get through my day, that people would look at and go, oh, what the fuck is he doing? Why is he playing Apex Legends for 2 hours at night? But that's what gets me, that's my escape, or that's my, there's just comforts for everything, and everyone has their different shit.
No, that's it, yeah, we all have our own things. I believe in a lot of wacky stuff. Or not believe, but I lean towards it. But again, I just sort of, that's what I think right now. Maybe that'll change in the future or whatever. But yeah, I think, look, if anything you can get strength from is probably a good thing. Anything that gets you motivated and helps you out, I have a weird thing.
From Apex. Yeah.
From Apex. I get strength from, how would I explain this? Whenever wanking. Something, wanking definitely. Well, it also saps me a strength. But whenever I have something that's like stressful, and it's on my mind, I can't get it out of my mind, I'm getting stuck with it, I kind of just go, yeah, but you know what, dude, you're gonna fucking die someday anyway, so like, just shut up. And that really, I have this kind of fuck it attitude where I'm like, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen to you? You're gonna end up on the streets with nothing. So I was like, so just wait till that happens to start worrying about all this shit. Yeah, that works for me. It's like, I kind of say to myself, I'm like, what's going to happen? Like, is that the worst thing? So like, you'll have loads of organizations that can help you. You'll try to get yourself better again, and you'll just be the hero in your own movie and try to get up from being in the streets.
Yeah,
I'd be one of the cryptids. I'd be like such a, like, I'd be like the paradoxical cryptid, because were talked about them until he became one.
I don't know. Yeah, it's, I think to go back to the Jersey Devil here, I think that this is a classic tale of cryptid that emerged from like folklore. Not too different from like the Wendigo.
No. It's like just that, very superstitious. That's what's effectively caused the lore. Now you have all the other stuff is like, is there something weird living in there that maybe they haven't seen properly, that they've dubbed the Jersey Devil, like some sort of Bigfoot type thing? I mean, that's possible too, You're talking about a 10-foot tall animal. That's right up there in Bigfoot's domain.
Yeah, for sure. So I think, it's an interesting, fun little cryptid, the Jersey Devil. I believe it's one of Shay's favourites. Shouts out to Shay.
No, shouts out mostly.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, look, have you got anything to add about the Jersey Devil, Eamon?
No, just I'm a fan of the Jersey Devil as well. I think it's a cool cryptid. Like I said, strong B tier. But yeah, definitely a good character. And I've really enjoyed this as well, because like I said, I knew about the cursing the child, but I didn't get into a lot of the more, the stigma that the family went through, Jaffa and Titan and Daniel. So 2 out of 3 fantastic first names as well. So yeah, pretty cool, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it even had good old Ben Franklin.
Can't argue with Ben.
Yeah, I mean,
just jeering people to death, literally.
What other cryptid can claim that? And possibly, perhaps, maybe this was all a prank of Ben Franklin. Maybe we're all talking about the Jersey Devil now, and you guys are listening right now, indirectly because of Ben Franklin taking the fucking piss.
Yeah.
Like, his joking could have been what turned the Jersey Devil from a joke to like a folkloric creature to a cryptid that we know now. And yeah, I think that's a really cool aspect of it that is overlooked, and most people probably don't even realize that the Jersey Devil has direct ties with Ben Franklin.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, so it's such an important figure in American history. So it's pretty cool. Like, I mean, not many other cryptids have that claim. So yeah.
No.
So cool stuff. So with that, Eamon, have you got anything to say before we go?
No, nothing much to say. Just look, as usual, appreciate the listens, spread the word, some reviews, all the rest of it. And yeah, thanks very much for listening. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, couldn't put it better myself. Thanks for listening, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, consider leaving a review. I have been Rob.
I've been Eamon.
We have been Monster Fuzz. Over and out, guys.
Thanks again for listening to Scary Time by Indie Drop-In Network. Check out all of Indie Drop-In shows at indiedropin.com. If you would like your show featured, reach out to us at Indie Drop-In on all social media or go to indiedropin.com.